Hello, this is Dennis Mason. With me in the studio is Dave Christie, the Democratic candidate for the 9th Congressional District in Washington State with the LaRouche slate of candidates. And we just got finished recording the candidates' discussion with Lyndon LaRouche, where he laid out the national program to take over the nation of the United States, to take back our economy and rebuild the nation. And what I want to ask you is, because we have had these wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, which have decimated our military. You have soldiers sitting there getting shot at with no purpose. There's no mission objective. And it's destroying not only the military as an institution, but these people as they come back to the United States, where the economy is disintegrated. There are people who have had no jobs for years. I mean, it's one thing to be out. Entire professions have disintegrated out from the nation, while at the same time the youth that are coming up into the society are completely being destroyed. They have no future to speak of, to look forward to. At the same time, as Keisha brought up during the discussion with these cultural tendencies, the movies and whatnot, and there have been a rash of youth trying to recreate these degenerate satanic movies, just destroying the potential of the young citizens of our nation. What we're seeing from the Democratic Party, as an example, and the Republican Party too, is nothing. For example, their policy campaign platform in Texas is to stop Keisha Rogers by putting up, what Lynn called today the invisible man. Or you look at what the unions are doing, campaigning for changing light bulbs and filling in potholes, as you put it during the discussion, as opposed to really driving for a solution to the economic problem, which uniquely, as Lynn emphasized repeatedly during the discussion, we have a handle on. We're the only show in town as concerns this.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a point now where we have to think big. And that is what NAWAPA is, as part of not just simply the project itself, but the whole question of Arctic development, which immediately calls into question the international relations. But I think just to address the point that you started out bringing up, we do have these soldiers coming back. Just as a point of geographical note, down south of Seattle, as you know, we have the Joint Base Lewis-McChord, Lewis the Army base, McChord the Air Force base, and in addition to the fact that this supposed guy involved in the recent slaughter in Afghanistan was from that base, you've also had a string of incidents where some of these soldiers coming back. One case, a guy waterboarded his 10-year-old son in the bathtub. Others recreating scenes of the torture. I won't go into the details, but the point is you have a broken, demoralized military fighting wars that they don't even believe in, and frankly are told by their superior officers that there's nothing to this anyway, except for guarding installations of oil or opium or whatever it may be. So I think that the question of restoring a national mission, because also make the point, it's not that these soldiers just get demoralized from the war. They're demoralized before they go over there. They're demoralized by this sick culture, as you referenced some of these movies, this Hunger Games, which is just the epitome of it. This idea of a post-apocalyptic world and balkanized United States split up into separate districts, where what we're talking about with NAWAPA is you look at all the places where our candidates are as a single national mission, all the elements that feed into the NAWAPA program, from Bill in Detroit over to Diane and Rachel on the East Coast. You look at that whole swath, that is the industrial heartland that will be sending the material, the trains, building the trains to get the material up there, the And then you see where the water comes down through the west coast from up in the Puget Sound area, obviously over in Idaho and so on, and then down through California, and then, of course, over into Texas. And you start looking at what all feeds into this as far as these national campaigns go, and this becomes a unified conception around which to rally the nation to rebuild ourselves and restore a sense of real morality. Right? Morality is not a list of do's and don'ts. It's a commitment to the future of mankind. And as any of these projects go, I mean, NAWAPA will be old men by the time this thing comes through, or at least older. Some of the old timers that'll be helping to train the younger generation who don't know how to do anything. Guys currently in their 60s and whatnots, they won't be around by the time this project is completed, but they will have participated in something that they give as a gift to the future of mankind, and that's how you restore a real sense of morality and, frankly, spirituality seen in the right way.
Yeah. As Lynn put it in the discussion, when we go after the British Empire in the form of reenacting the Glass-Steagall Law, which will destroy the empire, that will leave a hole in the finances of the United States, which can only be filled by NAWAPA, a project of that scale, that you can only issue credit when you move to the credit system to accomplish a mission objective to actually give the American people an objective toward which to strive, a future to bring into existence. That when you fund that with credit, the only project that's big enough, that's feasible, we've done this report that we're getting out widely, that outlines indeed, and we're going to have one thing that was commissioned during the candidate show was a more detailed expression of what kind of jobs that we could bring in overnight should the slate be elected into office. That's what this brings to.
Yeah, well, we should start it before then. We just come in to execute it, but we need to get it moving now. But yeah, I think that the idea of the credit system, in terms of a project, again, going back to this idea that we could throw money and, do the fix the potholes, change the light bulbs of Obama's stimulus program, but in the end, that would actually be inflationary, because you're not doing anything that creates the relevant increases of potential that enable you, that makes it worth that money going into as providing a future foundation for further growth. And so, and I'd just like to reference a few things, because NAWAPA is huge. And I think there's a way where some of these numbers get a little mind-boggling, and I've had some fun lately just trying to think of ways to make it more relevant, because if you bring it to people that the catchment area in terms of what will be delivered from the Yukon River system and the Mackenzie River system, that in terms of the delivery of, or at least the potential delivery of that water, the 22% of that water, it ends up coming out to somewhere around 138 million acre-feet. And for most people...
that's flow per year.
That's, flow per year, exactly. But for most people, they don't even know what an acre is, let alone an acre-foot, and millions of acre-feet doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But if you thought of it as a flow rate, as 138 million acre-feet as being pumped out of some giant hose per year, what would that look like? And the calculations work out to, per second, that would be filling up about a little over 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools per second. Just I like that imagery. The 29 billion cubic yards of dirt and earth that will be moved in this, that is about like if you could take 3 Empire State Buildings, ground floor to the top of the antenna, and stack them on top of each other this way, and this way, and create a big block of dirt. That's what you'd be looking at with 29 billion cubic yards. And then in terms of the concrete, it's about 1.5 World Trade Centers, the same dimensions as well. So imagine that much concrete poured in. And then it's about 440 million tons of steel, which if you converted that into 2 railroad tracks and just sent them around until they stopped, how much steel that would be? You'd be going around the Earth about 72 times. So I may have some of those numbers not perfect, but that's about the kind of the scope of what we're dealing with here. So this is but in terms of the duration, that's you provide a platform of activity that enables the long-term growth and saving our people, being able to bring these manufacturing jobs that we've lost under so-called globalization.
Sounds like we have a lot of work to bring to the American people.
We have probably too much, but that's a better problem to solve in terms of looking for the skilled labor. But again, I just think we have to stress over and over, we need this national mission. I think, if you look back at the times where we've had the missions under Roosevelt, under Kennedy, I don't think it's entirely just the fact that the morality of the people was stronger. I know that was the case because we've been so degraded, but the part of where the morality came from was a sense of fulfilling a national mission. So yes, our people are demoralized and frankly degenerate as hell, but if you give them this mission, that's the only way we're going to be able to direct them. So,
okay. All right. Well, that's great. I appreciate the time.
Okay. Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.